Hello everyone, on the Facebook Live using my hands, and we haven't got a mic because we've basically been here for 5 hours, but it's myself and David Freezer. We've had an epic afternoon of it here at Colney because of course new sporting director Stuart Webber has been unveiled. He's been speaking to us. He likes to talk and talks well too. And then Alan Irvine got to come out and talk about the game tomorrow. Of course, Reading, Norwich City headed there. I'm with Dave Freezer. Dave, what did you make of all that? It's been a good few hours, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, it's nice to have a bit of positivity to talk about after so long, and it's just everyone's felt kind of down in the dumps, haven't they? I mean, for you guys doing the away games two in the past 7 days, that must have been pretty tough. I mean, it's tough enough sitting in the office watching it. So, yeah, it was nice. He certainly talks a good game. He talks very well. His initial press conference was 40 minutes, and then he did various one-to-one chats as well. But I'd say the overwhelming thing was that he was talking about this identity, wasn't he? That from the canteen staff to people in the ticket office, to everybody at the club, fans, local media, he wants us to know what the plan is, what the style that him and the head coach, whoever that is going to be, want to implement on this club. So that, because he said, how can you go and sign a left back if you don't know what the style is, what type of left back you need? And you look at Huddersfield, it's clear they've got a style. And there was quite a nice line that he mentioned Tony Pulis. He said, you know, Tony Pulis has got a very defined style, isn't he? And that's true. You mentioned Mick McCarthy as well, but I think a little thing in his brain said, no, don't go there. He mentioned Tony Pulis. He's talked about Arsenal in the past, and when he was talking about the head coach, he also said, I'm not going to go and get Neil Warnock just to keep us up, as kind of a flippant comment, but I think that sort of made his point quite well.
It's an interesting point because you can put all that stuff together when things are going well. It's easier when you're battling. But he answered that himself. He said that he would have the faith in the style and the structure that it would actually be a success. So it's not like you're going to wheel out this passing fancy footballer, a football philosophy that you know won't work, and it's kind of a leap of faith. It's based around. And the great thing about this with Stuart Webber is whatever he says, and there's a lot of it, and much of it is very good. He doesn't actually have to say anything because you can look at 18 months worth of work at Huddersfield, and that does so much talking for him as well. And it's clearly what Norwich want to do.
Absolutely. I mean, every manager, head coach, whatever that's appointed, that first press conference is always full of positivity, isn't it? For fans, it's a new person to talk about, a new person to listen to. So that there's always that bit of positivity. You go and lose 10 games in a row, and obviously it gets chucked out of the window, doesn't it? But like you say, at Huddersfield, there's evidence to back up the words. You know, he seemed like a very nice bloke, a very personable bloke, and Alan Irvine actually said that he'd had a nice chat with him, didn't he? And that he was very honest, I think he said.
Yes, which Stuart himself said he likes to be honest,
yeah.
but also that Alan said he felt like he gave him the time, which I think is a nice touch.
I think we got the feeling of just now as well, didn't we? We had a little sort of off-mic chat with him just to sort of get to know him a little bit at the end as well. So, I'd say most people are coming away from here feeling pretty positive. It's just you've got the remaining 6 games of the season to play. But from his point of view, I suppose it's an extended summer, isn't it? He can take this end of the season. Nobody can blame him for whatever happens. He can just start working towards the first game of next season.
If you think we're kind of faffing around the edges here, that's because really there weren't any major decisions or any major news really. He said he's only been in the job 1 day, which of course officially he has been. Officially he has been. The head coach search he won't go back for David Wagner. That was probably the one thing he definitely said, but head coach search is ongoing. He will come up with a short list. He needs to speak to the board properly, which he hasn't really done, again, officially. So that will help conjure up exactly what he wants to do. And
do that this afternoon as well, won't he?
Do that this afternoon. So he's got a big afternoon. The football club, at least it's started, and I think that's the thing. At least it's got going, and Norwich do now have someone the players, everyone has someone they can look up to, going, he's going to be here for the next however long, properly in place, changing things. We can't just sit here drifting along as if everything's, wherever it's going, it's rudderless, which is what we got on Wednesday night, effectively.
He said Wednesday was unacceptable in his words, didn't he? So that's what we like to hear.
He also said everyone would call it that, which I think we all have, and it's a fair point against his former club, of course. And we had Alan Irvine for a little bit too.
If you're wondering what that noise is...
Has he missed the target?
We're outside the academy.
Could be a she. we spoke to Alan Irvine as well. Bit of team news. I think Wes is in the squad and fit enough. Dorrance isn't and won't be. And other than that, kind of feel a bit sorry for Alan Irvine because he's a top guy. He spoke well again today, especially on whether the team, you want to play youngsters. Will the team actually look after those youngsters when they're out on the pitch? For me, absolutely spot on point, because that team is not going to look after anyone at the moment.
And he's a very well qualified person to talk about that, because as he said, he's done a lot of youth work in the game. Everton particularly, I think he was very senior in their academy, wasn't he, for a while. He knows what he's talking about, so it just seemed like he was a bit loath to take those risks. I mean, if Wes is fit, I said, is he fit to start? And he said yes, so I would imagine Wes probably will start tomorrow. But then everyone's talking about James Maddison. You can't fit Maddison, Pritchard and Wes Hoolahan into one team, or well, I don't think you can anyway.
Not yet, Dave.
No. I mean, you can't. I don't see any point in having Pritchard and Maddison on the bench. So perhaps he should have gone back out on loan to Aberdeen. Maybe it was a mistake for him to stay here. To be honest, but we'll see. That's he towards the end of Alan's press conference, which was quite a bit shorter than Stuart's, wasn't it?
Could be longer. Jeez.
Was 42 minutes the initial press conference, and then we all spoke to him again. And Alan sort of towards the end, he said, "Look, I'll try and pick the best team that I can." And you did feel a little bit sorry for him at that point, because there's not much he can do, but he's a good bloke and he'll do the best that he can tomorrow. I put it to him that surely the players are at almost a tipping point where they think that we need to get on with this. This is miserable. And he said that the bus back from Huddersfield on Wednesday was not a nice place to be, didn't he? And the players must be sick of all this. They must want to have a bit of fun. And I put that to Alan, and he said, well, I hear people talk about fun in dressing rooms before game, enjoy the game and things like that, but in his words, he said that successful teams do the ugly side of the game. That's how they're successful. So the enjoyment comes when you've won the game. Worry about grinding out the result first, then enjoy it afterwards.
I bet no one enjoys a recovery run. That would be my view. Right. Apologies for this being so badly shot. It's because my arm hurts and it seems to be a funny angle. But there we go. We will, of course, be at the game. Paddy will be back as well. So we'll all be at Carrow Road on Saturday, bringing you live coverage. Pinken.com is the only place to be for all the live coverage, videos, words and analysis, preview and everything either side of the game. And we'll leave it there. A bright new dawn on a beautiful sunny day at Colney, Dave. What more could be said?
It's lovely. We're just going right up the 8,000 words of quotes now.
Literally, nothing more could be said. That's where we are. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.